Hey, what's up, YouTube? Go ahead and hit Facebook right over there.
Hey, what's going on?
We're going to give y'all a second to come on into we hope everybody's doing well this evening.
Hola, what's happening, Facebook family? Welcome to Relationship Thursdays.
Yeah, how you feeling this evening, babe?
I'm feeling like having a glass of wine.
Like having a glass of wine? I think I'm going to have something to drink myself, too.
What is that, Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid?
What is that? You mix a little something with your Kool-Aid?
I got a little mix going right now. But yeah, so as y'all are tuning in, let us know where y'all are tuning in from. Let us know if y'all can hear us. Salute to you too, Blueprint.
Yes, it's going to be good tonight, as always. It's not just good because we like to come on and talk about things that we find important, that we've benefited from. But it's good. I'm getting my words together. Thank you. Pray for me. It's good because y'all are here. It's good because you all drop such good knowledge. When I go back and look at the comments, I'm like, wow, it feels good to know you're not alone. It feels good to know, it's not a me thing. It's not a us thing. It's an everybody thing,
Absolutely.
So we just are happy that y'all are coming in. We see you coming in the room. What's up, Shannon? I see you, sis. I see Bruce representing Baltimore County, and Rochelle and Frederick, Maryland. Michael Damon, I see you. And of course, my sis, Fine 29. Shay is always in the house. Shay is always in the house too. What's up? I see you. Gainesville, Florida is represented on YouTube. Y'all are coming on in here from Texas and Cincinnati and all of that, right? I mean, y'all doing it up. Detroit is in the house. So we just want y'all to get ready.
Yes, get ready. This one right here is going to be real good.
This is like one of the #1 topics that people talk about anytime we're talking to people. We could just be out in the streets. We just do a little presentation. We could be at church. We could be anywhere. People are like, let me holler at you for a second. I'm saying, but how do you do this communication thing? Y'all seem like she talk a lot.
You do talk a lot, man.
I usually seem like he don't be really having a whole lot to say.
I be having something.
How do y'all do that thing? How do you make room for each other? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about communication. What's the title of tonight's live stream?
The title of tonight's live stream, y'all, is Your Communication Sucks. It sucks.
My mind.
It sucks. We can give you 7 secrets. 7 secrets.
Can you say that?
I need to get that thing out right. We're going to give you 7 secrets to really shift the dynamic in your relationship as it pertains to your communication and connection. So please stay tuned. We see the ATL is representing tonight. What's up, y'all? Please share this video. Again, my name is Ayize. This right here is my queen. My beautiful queen, my incredible queen, my impeccable you.
Stop trying.
Iana, my lovely wife.
You wrote a poem for me back in the day, y'all. Impeccable. Yeah. You. Impeccable. Thank you, bud. Yes, and this right here, this is my dynamic, my amazing husband, my protector, my confidant, my everything. He is always there for me. He challenges me. He pushes me. He allows me to be me. He ignores me when he needs to ignore me. He pulls me in. He handles me. He makes my fire settle down a bit because of that smooth water you got. That cool water.
That cool water, huh?
I respect you, baby. I love you.
I love you too. About to get some things started tonight. What's up, Travis and Leandra?
So here we go, guys. We're going to be talking about quite a bit. I just want to say, I see you, Cincinnati, Ohio, Alternative Roots. I see you, and I just wanted to shout you out. So we're coming together tonight so that we can talk about communication. And as we always say, those of you who are listening for the first time, we are therapists, we are licensed, this is the work that we do, but this is not therapy. And so we want you to understand is that there will be some things that resonate with you, and our hope, like straight up our hope, is that you write this thing down.
Yeah.
You write down that you hear. Get a pen and paper. If you ain't got that, you got your phone, you could do it, but I really think it's helpful when you put pen and paper, write it down so that whatever stands out to you, you can be like, what is it about that I need to focus in on? What is it about that I need to pay attention to? So we want you to do that, and we want you to share this video.
Yeah, please share, y'all.
If you feel that this might be of value, share it. Go ahead and share it so that everybody can get in on the conversation.
And the reason why we say share, y'all, is because, again, you know, it's not just you that's going to benefit from this experience and the lessons or the stuff that we're teaching this evening. I mean, it's a rack of people that's on your timeline that could benefit from it as well. So you got a bunch of friends that could benefit from the information. So please share. We definitely feel like what we're giving is of value. And not only do we give value, but we also receive value from the comments. So make sure you're dropping your comments as we're going through this tonight, because again,
and y'all funny as
this is a growing process for everybody. Y'all do be dropping some funny stuff in the comments. Y'all
yes.
represent.
Okay, guys, so let's get to it. All right. Make sure that you focus in. It's not that much time to commit every Thursday night to really focus on what it is you can do differently. You can do relationship. And usually it starts with you. What's up, Kiwana? I see you. And I see Travis and Leandra Johnson from the land of Baltimore. What's up? So here we go. We're going to get started. And first, let's just talk about this communication thing. Why do you think this thing is so difficult? Why is it such a major area? I mean, and I don't know if we're talking to nobody out here, but like I said earlier, people talk to us all the time. I want to hear from y'all in terms of, like, what do you find to be one of the most difficult things when you think about communicating, whether it's with your current partner or maybe in the in the past, right, with former partners? What's the thing that gets in the way? Some of us already know, like, yeah, like I go from 0 to 100 in about 9 seconds. You know what I'm saying? It don't take much for me, and I throw us off. Some people have that level of awareness. Other folks may have some different experiences, but go ahead and drop a comment for us. And I want to hear, what are some of the challenges that people are coming up against when it comes to communication? I mean, what do you think?
So I can speak from a man's perspective. You know, a lot of times men, we feel bombarded, we feel overwhelmed. And oftentimes what occurs is this whole process of emotional flooding. So when that takes place, again, you're feeling a sense of overwhelmingness because you're being flooded with feelings. And sometimes you can't even place a finger on the feeling that you're experiencing. You just know that something is going on, but with this whole emotional flooding process, it becomes so overwhelming that you just shut down. And so when it comes to this communication piece, y'all, it's important to recognize that we all have different styles. We all have different ways in which we go about it, and we all respond differently to communication when it's coming at us in a certain way. And so again, a lot of times men, especially when they're sitting in front of us, whether it be via Skype, our online platform, or in front of us, they oftentimes express, like, she always beat me over the head with something. She always coming at me this particular way. She coming incorrect. And she's always looking for a response. But truth be told, I don't have a response right now. I'm really just trying to process what it is that you're saying. I'm trying to receive and digest the information, but you're expecting an immediate response. And I can't necessarily give that to you in this moment.
Because you all are slower, right? Well,
there's a value judgment that's placed on being slower. There's a connotation that goes along with that I'm not necessarily feeling. You know? There's a certain connotation that goes with slower.
I did that on purpose. No, but you all are slower in terms of I'm doing that thing on purpose, y'all. Let me stop. No. So what we know about men and women, and this is not anything that we give you is not a hard and fast rule, because life is not like that, right? There's a lot of gray and a lot of in between. But what we know about men and women is that, you know, this kind of illusion of multitasking, which is really not good to do. You know, talk to me about that on another day, because you're not really that productive when you're doing too many things. That is something, though, that women actually are wired to do in a more effective way. You know, there's been lots of studies out there that have proven and have shown that when they look at women's brains, you know, that a woman is wired to hold the baby on the hip, you know what I mean, talk on the phone, stir what's on the stove, and talk to you about something important in the household, you know, and then turn around and make sure that homework is getting done, you know, like 5 different things, you know, and then click send on the email, right? And for men, they're wired differently. So it does sound like a judgment. And I do mess around, you know what I'm saying? I do mess around, and I mess with my husband like, you with me? You know what I'm saying? Right. So I do that. But I want to say that we are different. We're different. We have to respect differences. So from with sometimes for men and hard and fast, some women, you know, operate in that way. A challenge for us is to be more succinct. And what are we lifting up right now? I want everybody to pay attention to what we're lifting up right now. There are automatic differences that people possess in terms of their proclivities, their tendencies, and their inclinations in terms of how we process information, how we hear things, how we're able to focus, right? All of that kind of stuff, right? So we have to first respect the differences. And oftentimes we don't do that because we want you to understand what we're saying, give us a response, or be quiet. Like, we don't have to talk about that for like another 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't cool.
That's not gonna work.
You know what I mean? So somebody's avoiding, somebody's pursuing, and oftentimes we get started in the wrong place because we do not understand where the other person is and how they process, right? So for example, let me give you this, because again, you need to establish the framework for you and your partner, or for your boo in the future, you know, if you ain't got nobody right now, right? I'll give you an example. I know if I want to talk to my husband and I want to talk to him about something that's important and I really want his full attention, the best thing for me to do is to not do it when the game is on. Is to not do it when children are moving around the house. Is to not do it, you know, when he's kind of moving and trying to get things done. Even if he's sitting still, but there's a lot of activity in the room, it's going to be difficult for him to focus in, because that's how he processes. I got to kind of shut everything out, because I will literally be talking to you.
You really will.
Wow.
You really will.
I will be talking to you,
really will.
And it will be just like this.
Yes.
And then he'll be like, "What you say?"
Yeah. No. We won't be like this. I'll be looking at the TV and you'll be talking.
No. Yeah. What I'm saying is, you could be looking right at me and you ain't listening. You know, so I know that he has some tendencies,
like, and
I used to fight against that thing, because I'm like, I got things we need to resolve and things that we need to do, right? And so my startup was not good. And so that leads us to...
Before we get to the first point though, let's concretize this thing a little bit more.
Okay.
Because to bring this thing home, y'all, we've been together now for 23 years, married for 15. We experienced this just last night. So I'm going to make this thing all the way real. Just last night, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to watch Golden State in Portland. I can't even remember the conversation you was trying to have with me, because I was trying to watch the game, but you chose an inopportune time to try to have a conversation. It might have been about daycare or something like that.
Yes,
I don't know what
we
it
are
was.
trying to find daycare right now.
I don't know what it was. But again,
baby.
So my wife, she just lifted up the point. And so I'm expressing this because I want you all to understand that it's not going to ever end. It's not going to ever end. I'm not trying to make it doom and gloom. But what you learn to do is you learn to know your partner. You learn to work around your partner. You learn to work with your partner as you all grow in a relationship.
But you can only do that if you respect your partner. And that's why we come back to respect so often when it comes to communication. We do not give the respect to our partner that we give to other people. We defer to other people who we do not really know. We give them respect, you know, in the workplace, on the job, right? You know, out in the streets, at the McDonald's. Thank you. Okay, you need a minute, whatever, right? And we don't do that to our partners because we just want them to, you know, like, get with it. And so you have to understand that you might think that you're operating from a place of respect, but really, like, pay attention. Do you just give basic respect to your partner? Basic respect. You know what I mean? And if you do not, then you have to really, like, look at yourself in the mirror and realize, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to work on some things. I need to work on some things. So I want to just shout out what T Walker is saying. What's up, T? In my relationship, he and I speak different languages. We're both saying the same thing in different ways, and we just go round and round and round.
She said it's the song that doesn't end.
The song that doesn't end.
It's a dance, y'all. Yes, it's really a dance. And what's really interesting is that the reason why we say it's a dance is because both of you have assumed a certain position.
Okay, let's move into point number one now. The dance. Go ahead. The dance.
Yeah. So both of you all have assumed a certain position in the dance. So who's leading the dance? Who's initiating the conversation? Who's running? Who's following? And so if you're always assuming a certain position, if you step out of key, then what that does is it interrupts the flow of the dance. And it's not to say that you can't. It's not to say you can't switch things up and be a little bit different. But what it is to say is that make sure you're always questioning. Make sure you engage in a process of self-awareness so that you become more clear about the role that you've assumed and whether or not that's the most appropriate position that you need to take when it comes to you all conversing with each other.
And so I want some of you all right now to go ahead and let us know, like, what's your role? What's your role? I want to know. What role? Are you the pursuer? Are you the one who initiates? Are you usually abrasive? You know, are you usually bringing stuff up and you do it in a very, very harsh way? You know, how are you doing that? So you want to understand what your role is and then challenge yourself to come out of that position. If you're the one initiating most of the time forward and pushing it, maybe then you need to lean back. What's up, Dwayne Van Norden?
What's up, Dwayne?
You know, maybe you need to lean back. If you're the person who usually is quiet and ain't really trying to get in all of that, like, you know, give me some time, maybe you need to come forward. And usually what happens is this: who has the most insight tends to use it. And if you have the most insight, you are obligated to use it. That means that if you're on this live stream tonight and you can figure out in some way what your position is that you usually take and the right that you have established with your partner, because think about the conversations you have. Do they tend to have kind of some of the same patterns? Do they tend to follow the same trajectory? Doesn't really matter, particularly if it's some point of conflict. You know, like what tends to happen? Yeah, actually, yeah, he usually does this. I usually do that, right? So whatever that is, how can you shift? You got to move and do another dance. You know what I'm saying? You have to take another step, move to the left instead of the right, do something different. And because you're here, right, then you have the most insight, presumably, and you need to use it.
Yeah. So again, point number one, y'all, is examine the dance. I mean, some of y'all got some stank startups when it comes to your dance, some stank moves when it comes to the dance. And so let me ask you this question. Who in here is willing to admit or at least acknowledge that in your relationship, the way you all start the conversation is all jacked up? Just the way you started is all. So when I say started, I'm not even words that are coming out of your mouth. I'm talking about the way you all enter into the conversation just based off of your body language,
coming in the room,
your energy. When you come into the house, you already began the process of communicating with your partner before you've even seen them. So how many of y'all are starting that thing real stank right from the jump?
Right. So this brings us to point number 2. How are you starting up? So much, y'all, so much. People do not understand that when you start the conversation, you have already determined how it will proceed and how it will end. It makes sense when you hear it, but you do not examine how you start this thing up. And my husband just said, it ain't really just the words that are coming out your mouth. It's the energy that you bring. It's the deep breaths that you take. Right? It's the time that you give and how you turn to pay attention or you keep moving, and focusing on other things. And so harsh startups, write that down if you are a note taker. Harsh startups kill any chance for productive conversation. They kill it. And so, you have to be willing to call it out. If that's what's happening for you, or if you know that your partner comes at you in a way that just kind of puts you in a place where you just shut down on the inside, but you like go along with the motions. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, but I'm really not. Call it out. You ain't got to call them out in a, don't be aggressive and do it in a way that's not really going to help y'all to get any further along in your communication. But a lot of times we don't know the person. I used to, if I think about myself and my husband, the way that I'm talking right now and the level of energy that I have tends to be my flow. And we would be talking about things and I was coming with this same kind of energy. And I did not know for a long time that I was really helping to facilitate the shutdown.
Facilitate? You were ushering it in?
I was ushering it in. I was like, let me tell you something today. He was like, shutting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hear nothing you're saying. And I didn't know that. But until we started doing some work and looking at ourselves, going to counseling and figuring out, okay, like, what am I doing? And I, if I be really honest, it took me a minute because I get in my feelings and I took it personally. Like, that's your problem. Just because I talk like this, why do I got to do something different for you? Everybody else don't get.
I mean, maybe I was a little bit too sensitive.
Don't get offended. You know what I mean? Maybe you were. Let's take the maybe off. You were. But here's the thing. He might have been too sensitive. I can be too sensitive, and we can get caught up in that. You're too this. You're not enough of that. Why do you do? Or you can adjust. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be in relationship? That's the question. Do you want to have a point? Do you want to psychoanalyze and be like, you got issues because, your mother, and, you taking all that out on me. And I'm not doing it. Do you want to, I know, because I do it, I'm a psychoanalyzing fool. You understand? And, I could do all of that. And my husband's like, yeah, he rolled out the room. What have I done? What progress have I made? And if I'm really trying to be helpful, then I'm not going to come that way. So you have to pay attention to the startups. How are you starting up? How are you moving forward in the conversation? If you can take ownership, of what you're doing to mess it up, then and only then will you be able to get to maybe a productive conversation. Cherish, I love it, sis. She said, why can't I be both though? Why can't I be both? And I think what you're talking about is like, can I get on you and call you out? You know what I'm saying? And have a little bit of harsh startup and, try to be productive. Look, it just don't work. You got to choose. Do you want to be right or do you want to be in relationship?
So let's qualify this just a little bit further though.
Oh, Danielle, I feel you, sis.
So what my wife is saying is that you can't have both. In addition to that, earlier she said that, if you start off stank, then you're pretty much killing any opportunity for
harsh
connection.
Startups.
In a relationship, just sound communication, you're killing that. But let me say this.
Some examples too.
Let me say this, y'all, that if you developed an ability or a skill, a unique set of skills that qualify you to be able to recover, then in some situations you may be able to do that and then bounce back and recover from it. But not a lot of people can do it because again,
say it again.
What I'm saying is that, if you've developed a unique set of skills that enable you to even have a harsh startup, but then recover from it, not that I'm condoning it, but what I'm saying is that some people, such as that, so you and
I don't understand what you're saying.
What we've done, we will develop is an ability to be able to, sometimes I come off at you wrong, but I'm able to recover from the way that I've come at you based off of what I know and how I flow.
You mean you try to make a repair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I recover from that. And so what I'm saying is that because
I'm the one that got to recover, you coming at me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, of course you got to recover, but I mean, it's both things.
Yeah.
And so, I have to find a way to navigate my way back in my wife's good graces. And so it's possible you start off wrong. It doesn't mean that it completely kills it,
right?
That it's dead and done and that you just throw up your hands and just give up. No, that's not the point. The point is that, again,
it means that at some point when you are into your partner, right? Like, I'm off. You know what I mean? Or if you just get mindful, you're like, I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm lunching. You know what I mean? I'm not doing the right thing.
529, a good throat punch.
A good throat punch can fix that right away.
We don't
you know what I'm saying? We don't condone that, 529. So and if you don't, then that tells you have, think back to some of the situations and the conversations you've been in. That tells you have even more work to do. Like, I don't know, because I'm just kind of in the conversation. Then your level of awareness is pretty low. But if you just get still for a second, or you just kind of see what your partner is giving you back, the way you're coming is not helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And so at any point in time, you can make a repair. What does a repair look like? It means, saying, I'm sorry, like, let's start over. And I want to give you a few examples of what you can say. You can just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I started that all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. You can say, let me start again in a better way. Let me start again in a softer way. Because we want soft startups. That's what we want to the conversation. You can say, I want to be gentler to you right now, but I don't know how. Oh my. I want to come better to you right now, but I don't really know how. See, that requires some level of transparency. Like, I know that the way I did that wasn't right, but I don't really know what to say. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do that, then you are acknowledging to your partner, I'm stuck, but I'm trying to do better, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an attempt to make a repair. Let me try again, right? You can be in the middle of a conversation and talking and be like, you know what? I just blew it. Let me just go ahead and pause. Can we get a do-over? Right? You can do that. So again, make sure that you make attempts to repair. Make attempts to repair when you find that you're messing up. You don't have to keep going. Sometimes we like kids, like, well, I said a statement, I took a position, so I can't come up off of it. Like, you in court.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's what I said. Well, and sometimes you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just what I feel. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can step to the left and be like, let me start over.
So committed. So committed to our agenda.
Yeah. So make a repair. So, all right. The next point. And what's up, Christine? We see you, sis. St. Bill.
So point number 2, y'all, is and again, please share this video. If you're benefiting from it, then I'm sure that some people in your timeline, some of your friends will benefit too. Point number 2, and I want to respond by giving y'all point number 2 in response to Danielle Chambliss over here on YouTube. What she's saying is that I always feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. And
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Whoop, 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 hey. Oh. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm gonna go. But I feel you. sometimes when I'm just feeling it, yo, I just got to, I have to do that because I feel it. And I'm not saying, I mean, in the back in the day, you were kind of, sort of, sometimes like that at certain times, trying to qualify. You know what I mean? And I felt like that, like, hello, can I get a response? You know what I'm saying, are you breathing? And come over and check his pulse. Are you there? Are you with me? So I just want to say I feel you. I understand.
So I definitely get you, sis. And my wife, she said this to me in the past, and I've actually been more intentional about giving her a response, even if I really ain't got no legitimate or no sound response. Just saying something is better than saying nothing at all.
So I'm sorry, I know I'm cutting you off one more time.
What?
So how do you not have how is it that when and I'm just asking for the sisters, just for the sisters.
Thanks for the sisters, it's brothers too.
Okay, I'm coming from my perspective as a woman. Usually I give you a lot of detail. I'm sharing my thoughts and feelings about something. We may be talking about something really concrete. How is it that you don't have, like, you said, I just come up with something because I don't have nothing. And this is probably a part of, my talking disease. I'm like, how do you have nothing? Tell me how do you have nothing at all? Do you have something and you just like used to just like, this came up, but no, I don't feel like, because then if I say that, she's going to talk for 20 more minutes. Like, what? Do you really have nothing?
So that could be a part of it. I mean, that definitely could be part of it. So
I just want to know.
I'm trying to kill the conversation. I'm not trying to keep the conversation going on and on and on.
Dwayne said we aren't engaged at the moment.
That's a perfect point. And I saw Emmett, he gave a pound earlier based off of what he said, that sometimes you just don't have the words. I mean, it's not that things aren't floating through our head, but again,
grab one and throw it out.
In that moment, we may not feel like what you're saying is necessarily worth responding to.
See, Kelly, where she at? Lord, I know you. Like she said, that's so frustrating. See, when I hear you say that, it's really not. It's not really. It's not worth it.
It's almost like okay, I hear you.
So,
what you want me to say? I mean, it's like what you want me to say. But no. So what I've learned.
But people are feeling you. It's Cher said that's me. I'm usually the one with nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't have a response for you. Like, I mean, give me a few minutes and I might. But also too, it may not necessarily. I'm not intrigued by it. I'm not interested in what it is that you're saying. I mean, just to be truthful, I'm not really interested. So I'm not invested in the conversation.
This isn't going in the direction that I.
No, but it's just real talk. So sometimes we're not always. You're not always interested in what I'm talking about.
But if I just go based off of how you be responding, you don't be interested in what I'm talking about a lot of times. Then I'm like, well, goddamn. So let me think about that for a second.
It's not a priority, but again, what I've learned, which I was trying to say a moment ago, what I've learned is to give a response, even if you don't have any.
Yes, that's
to at least acknowledge the fact that I'm thinking about it. Let me think about this thing. At least say something. Back in the day, I wouldn't say anything at all. I would just be quiet. And then my wife would be wondering, like, again, checking my pulse to see whether or not.
Are you alive?
Yeah. And it's not that I don't want to say anything, but I had to be groomed into learning that when it comes to this whole communication dance, to give her a response is really at least something. Some type of feedback is what she's looking for in that moment.
And let's be real. I mean, just in terms of kind of expressing yourself and putting your feelings out there and talking and sharing and stuff. I mean, that was something you had to get more used to. Some of us have
which leads me to point number 2.
Family patterns and things in terms of how we express ourselves and what we saw. And so we have to make room for our partner to be able to get into a different space, like on a real, so.
Yeah. So, which is 100% true. And I've mentioned this in one of our videos before, live streams. I talked about this whole thing about alexithymia, which is really sometimes, we as men, we don't know, we can't put a word to the feelings that we experience. And so you have a whole bunch of jumbled stuff going on inside of you, but you can't necessarily like identify and pinpoint what those feelings are. And so when your woman is coming at you and saying like, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? You're like, I don't know. I don't really know. I can't give
anybody know about that.
And
I feel some type of way.
And it's not that nothing is being felt, but you can't put a word to the feelings. And so what I want you all to do, if you find yourself in that space or in that situation, do this real simple and quick exercise. Just Google feeling words, a list of feeling words. And so, I did that. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that I could give you all, for those of you who are challenged when it comes to expressing what your feelings are, just a list of some words that you can use to cover certain areas, and not the same word over and over and over again, but, just a different word for each category. So for instance, if you're feeling, let's say let's go to what you want to if you're feeling angry, you can use words like irritated, enraged, insulted, annoyed, upset. If you're feeling confused, confused is another thing. It's a real big thing, y'all. If you're feeling confused, you can use words like, stupefied. You might not necessarily use that.
I'm
one, but
stupefied right now.
Perplexed, uncertain, unsure, skeptical, reluctant, hesitant,
pessimistic.
Use words like that to express what you're feeling. If you're afraid, you can use words like I'm fearful, I'm terrified, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I feel panicky, I feel worried. Using words like that. And if you feel hurt, using words like rejected, dejected, afflicted. You're feeling deprived, tormented, victimized. Yeah. So here's a list of words that you all can use in those situations where you can't find words for what it is that you're feeling.
Y'all, and what we just did just now, some of y'all listening, if I take off my therapist hat and put on my other hat, if somebody was sitting with me and I was, with the counselor, I'd be like, what the hell? Do I look like a 7-year-old? Don't be giving me no list of words. How do you feel? These are some words you can use to describe your feelings, right? That's how I'd be feeling like, I'm not doing that. Some of y'all are kind of like, okay, that's nice. And then y'all are trying to move on. Let me help you to pause for a second. Let me help you to pause because I cannot begin to tell you how many people I have worked with over the years. And we sit down in the counseling room and I say, so tell me about your week. Tell me what's going on. How you feeling? What's your emotional state? Update me. It's been, it's good. It's been idle. It's been, I don't know. What? Can you give me some words? And I literally, and what people have been able to do over time, I take out a big freaking chart that has all of these emotions. And I say, no, that ain't telling me nothing. Don't tell me good. What does that mean? Here's the chart. Pick a word. And when they pick the word, it brings up for them like, yeah, this is really what's going on for me. Because it's not that you all don't have knowledge of those words. It's not that we don't understand those words and like you're being exposed. It's that we are not used to really being in touch with our feelings.
Accessing those words.
Accessing those feelings and being in touch with like what's really going on. Because we get used to having a feeling, experiencing it, and then push it down. Having a feeling, experience it, push it down, push it out. And we don't really always experience it. Yeah. So when you have to share with your partner, a lot of times you're not used to like, what is that? And so it is a practice. Yeah. Anything that you do consistently and practice, you will get better at. And so I really challenge you to take what we're saying seriously. Like you may feel like this is some dweeby. I mean, that's just me. Like, what the hell is this? Do it anyway. Yeah. Write that note down. Do it anyway. Google some damn words, and use them. And it will help you to connect in and share in a completely different way when you're communicating with your partner.
So again, y'all, that was point number 2.
That was point number 3.
That was point number 2. The first point was the dance. Point number 2 was find a feeling.
Harsh startups.
Harsh startups. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Point number 3, find a feeling words. Again, it's not too late to share. Please go ahead and share this live stream right here because I know some other people can benefit from the information that we're getting.
All right, so we're going to move on to number 4. This is one of my favorite ones because this is one over time that I've had to really work on. Excuse me. I've had to really work on, and I don't know. I think it's something that everybody has to work on some level. But you have to be able to self-regulate. It's not a term that we use a lot just in everyday conversation. But what I tell folks, and just kind of sitting with people over the years and seeing how people experience things, like we feel all kind of feelings. We get really mad. We get, really sad. We kind of tap out. We do all kind of stuff. But we're not in touch with it again. And so it's one thing to get in touch with your feelings. It's another thing to just let them things rip. I just let it rip, just blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And whoever gets caught up in my wrath and my fire, whoever is just going to get caught. You have to learn how to self-regulate. What does that mean? That means first you have to have some level of awareness of what you're feeling when you're talking. You know what I'm saying? What kind of gets under your skin, and you got to be able to share that, right? You got to be able to give some feedback and say to people, for example, you got to be able to say what you just said right there. Like, and I do this with my husband, do I not? I say like, hold up, babe, like the way you just said that or what you just said, that really, that was kind of frustrating, or that made me feel like you were judging me right there. He's like, wait, what was it? What did I say? And we'll pause in the middle of the conversation. Because if I don't share that, and of course I'm interrupting in a respectful way, if I don't share that, I'm stuck Iana Ma'at is stuck on the fact that I think that what you said was judgmental
Mhm.
for the rest of the time. And I can't even let no words come in because I'm pissed.
Mm.
And so and he allows me to do that. You know what I mean? So, and he don't do it all the time,
Mhm.
but, and I don't do it all the time, but you have to be willing to self-regulate. For me, that's a part of my self-regulation.
Mhm.
Let me go ahead and put this out here, because if I don't, this ain't going to end pretty. I'm just going to start to get nasty. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start being curt and whatever, because I'm feeling offended. So let me go ahead and put it out there.
Mm.
Self-regulation means you know when to tap out, right? And we talked about that before. Can you bring back up again? Because I think it's really important. Some of you may have heard us talk about this before, the sticky words and the tapping out. Isn't that what you call it?
Yeah.
You don't want to say that?
No. Why you said it?
Oh, because you're looking like, I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Just talk about the sticky words and the tapping out strategy that you can use in communication that people can set up so that they can know when the other person needs to tap out.
So I was just, when you said that, I was just wondering whether or not I mentioned this last week. I may not have.
Not last week. I don't
did.
care when it wasn't last week, but mention it again, because I think this is a good one.
Yeah. So my wife, one of our other points, y'all, was harsh startups. And, she just mentioned sticky words, which oftentimes are a result of harsh startups. But sticky words, y'all, are words that you use when you're conversing with your partner. And they trigger some type of emotional.
No, it's not what I'm talking about.
Are you gonna let me finish the point?
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought this is where they make up the sticky word.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
Okay.
You look at me like you about to like shut up, woman. Okay, my bad. That's what you want to say. That's what you like. You want to say. I'm like, okay, my bad.
So I mean, really, if you wanted to go ahead and express this one.
No, go right ahead.
Okay. So yeah, so as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, sticky words, y'all, when you're conversing with your partner, there's certain words that trigger you to feel a particular way. There's certain experiences that make you feel a certain way when you're conversing with your partner. And so we have an exercise that we do with couples where we ask each couple to identify a word that they consider to be a sticky word. And so oftentimes couples, they'll use words like peanut butter, jam, honey, et cetera. And so, when they pick these words, what they need to do is they use these words whenever they're feeling like they're being triggered when they're conversing with their partner. And so it becomes a situation where it's a non-offensive word, it's a non-abrasive word, it's a word that's not necessarily going to cause any issue in the relationship. Because if you're feeling like you're being triggered and you say something like peanut butter, what you're letting your partner know is that your partner did or said something that made you feel uncomfortable, that's starting to set you into a certain space where you might possibly go off on, maybe possibly. And again,
very possibly.
This is, going back at your partner or trying to argue with your partner or even tapping out. What you're doing is you're using these sticky words to identify that you're in a space right now and you're possibly entering into a space that could become contentious. And so you're letting your partner know, can you please check in with me and ask me why I use the word peanut butter? Mm-hmm. Can you please check in with me and ask me why I use the word Jane?
Cherish has it. Cherish says, so it's like a safe word. Mm-hmm. It's like a safe word. And it really is. It's like a safe word. Because if you just, somebody's talking and they really starting to get, and you be like, jam or whatever it is, honey or, glue, then it's kind of like, what? And y'all probably chuckle a little bit. It breaks up the energy a little bit. And the person like, oh, all right, you said glue. What's up? And you all can kind of engage in a space where you all will check in with each other and get out of what might have been a contentious pathway. Yeah, that's not going to get y'all to know productive communication. So I really encourage folks to try that. Again, a lot of times the things that we hear, they sound so simple, and we just think like, oh, really? Yeah, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. Like try it, and this self-regulation piece, again, that's what this point is. It's about self-regulation, right? Instead of me blowing up, instead of me going off, instead of me telling you about yourself, your mama, and everybody else, right? I'm gonna just say my sticky word, and hopefully
kangaroo.
I know. I'm looking at Cherish because we're talking about some kangaroo. Look, make it whatever. You can make it whatever word. We say sticky words because that's just what we say, right? But in this kangaroo, Cherish, make it do what it do. And you say that joint, your partner probably start laughing a little bit, and it breaks up the energy. So Kangaroo. You know, Cherish, I might steal that from you. I'm gonna say that next time I use as irritant, I'm gonna be like kangaroo. Kangaroo. So use
but then it
that.
becomes a responsibility of the partner in a relationship to really ask, why is that word being used? What's going on with you right now? What did I say or do that's making you feel whatever it is that you're feeling? And also, what is it that you're feeling? I saw somebody posted over here on Facebook. The why behind the feeling is also equally as important.
Yes. Who said that?
It was over here on Facebook.
Who said it? Say it again, because we can't go back and find a comment. Who said that? Who said the why behind the feeling? Yeah. Yep. That thing right there, that's when it's getting real good, y'all. Come on, drop that comment again, because that right there, man, we can do a whole session on that situation. Yeah. The why behind is so important because you did. All right, sis. All right, you did. Yes, Kelly. So let me tell you something.
Mikhail.
Oh, that's Mikhail. Girl, what's up? So of course you did. Of course you did. You too. Okay, Art of Overcome. I'm gonna be emailing you. I need you to help me, sis. So look, the why. It's very easy, if I just use myself as an example, it's very easy for me to attach to my irritation about a particular thing. It's very easy for me to tell you I'm mad, I'm upset, whatever. It's very easy because that's the aggressive thing. I can do that, right? It's very easy for me to say I'm mad because when I said this is, then you did this. But it's a different level of communication. It is a different level of transparency, a different level of awareness. When you go behind that, when I go behind that and say, that, growing up, I felt as though I did not get attention from my father. He was not there for me. He didn't pay attention to me. He just wasn't around. And so when you do what you just did, and when you say what you said, the way you said it, it just kicks up for me. It makes me feel that same feeling that I felt when I was younger. Like I'm not important. That's what it makes me feel. Yeah. See, your partner can help to heal the places in you that need healing, but they can only do it if you share what's really going on for you.
That's true.
They don't know, and a lot of times you don't know. But if you're able to share and to get into a place where you talk about that why, what's going on behind, and that's higher level advanced stuff. It is. It's higher level stuff. Man, you are doing some deep ass bona fide work. Do you hear me?
That's true.
And that is a place that your partner can occupy that no other person can occupy, right? That is what really the meaning of solid, strong, healthy relationships and marriage is all about. It's really about healing. Sex is good. Loving is good. Being able to hang out. This is my homie. Being able to build and have this vision. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. But the primary reason, in my belief, for two people coming together is for me to help this man open up his third eye fully. Whether I realize I'm doing it or not, God is using me and God is using him to help me open up my third eye and to grow. To become everything that we're supposed to become. That's what it's all about. What the hell is going on Facebook? This Joan talking about you can still, what's going on? This thing saying it's trying to reconnect. I don't want to click cancel. In the whole video, I don't know.
Don't hit cancel.
You can click over here?
Yeah, do that.
Y'all, I don't know. Okay, so the video is messing up on Facebook, but we back. All right, y'all, we are getting closer to the end now. I see some of your questions. Bruce, I see you. And Bruce says, what if I see the why and tell her? Is that being too analytical? Yeah. I feel it, Bruce, because I feel like you're asking me if you see the why for her, right? But what we're asking you to do is to see the why for your damn self. You know what I'm saying? We're asking you to get real insightful about your own issues. Because don't nobody want you telling them about their issues. You understand? And I'm saying this from a place.
Don't nobody want you pulling out no books.
You know what I'm saying? So, look, just last night.
You
know what I'm saying? I analyze things to depth. Do you hear me?
So we're both therapists, y'all.
You know what I'm saying?
So
we be in this job.
I know how to turn it off. I know how to turn it off and just sit back and chill.
What you trying to say? What you trying to say?
Last night, that's exactly what the conversation was about last night. I'm glad we brought this up. So I'm watching.
No, we didn't bring up Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. I'm watching Golden
State.
Get
the book.
I'm watching Golden State.
I'm going to get the book. I want y'all to see this, and then we're gonna wrap it up and say goodnight.
No, we're not, because we got 3 more points to do.
We ain't got that more.
Yes, we do.
9:56.
It don't matter. We got 3 more points. So I'm watching Golden State in Portland. Now I'm riding with Golden State. You know, I like KD, I like Steph, and I like Golden State. They handling their business. They behind, and they trying to make this comeback. And I'm all invested and intrigued by, just how they're engaged in the game, how they're playing, and all of that type of stuff. And I'm listening to Bill Walton make these crazy comments about Steph Curry is Mozart and KD is Steve Jobs. Hilarious comments that I think that sometimes he'd be out of his mind. But in any event, so I'm focused on the game. I'm watching Golden State make this comeback. They lost the game, y'all, but I'm watching the game.
You're still talking about the game?
I'm watching the game. And so my wife, she's asking me questions. And she wants me to do an assessment in the middle of the game.
No.
Assessment.
Was the game actually on?
The game was on, boo. She wants me to do an assessment in the game. And then she gets irritated. She gets irritated with the assessment.
It's 18 questions.
It's 18 question assessment.
18 questions.
I'm in the middle of watching the game, though.
Y'all see this?
I'm in the middle of watching the game.
Okay.
And so she lifted this thing up. She made this the priority.
With them.
Thank you, Mikhail. Mikhail said no.
Come on, Mikhail.
No.
Sis, come on now. No. Sorry, I was playing.
I'm like, what are you doing? And then she gets irritated by the fact that I'm not really trying to fully engage her.
Actually, I know that that's a rule, not during the game, but I actually do not recall that the game was on. I really don't.
You were totally out of my space.
Yeah,
totally
I was like,
you were totally somewhere else. You were totally preoccupied.
All right, y'all call me out. Cassandra said you wrong for that.
Yeah.
You wrong. But look, y'all, look. This name of this book is The Mindfulness Prescription for Adult ADD. Bruce, you still with me? An 8-step program for strengthening attention, managing emotions, and achieving your goals. Okay, and look, I'm clear. I've said I am self-diagnosed. I got ADD. You understand? Adult ADD. I got some variations of this thing. And so what I said to my husband is, "Hey, take this little assessment in here. I think you got it too." And he was like, "What?
Why are you trying to make your issue my issue?"
You know what I'm saying? Well, we got the same issue. We do. All right. So move on. What is the point? How did we get on this?
Bruce made a comment about analyzing this problem.
You know what I'm saying? So straight up, like for real, that's the thing, is that I'm saying that, Bruce, from a place of love, because that's what I do. And my husband's like, and so I did get a little attitude, like, you don't want to know a little bit more about yourself. You don't want to take the assessment and see if there's something that you can do differently so that you can manage your life. You know what I'm saying?
I'm watching the game.
But you ain't saying I'm watching the game. You said like, nah, because I don't bother me. Yeah, probably do got some of that, but I don't care. I'm good.
Irritated as well.
Like, I'm good.
I was irritated.
I was like, well, I'm trying to be better. So I'm going to keep reading the book, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yes, you don't necessarily want to give your partner feedback that they're not asking for. We told you all this before in the past. You can always say, do I have permission to give you some feedback?
I should have said that last night.
I ain't asked.
I would have wore you out.
I ain't even asked that. I was like, check this assessment. But you can ask that question: do I have permission to give you some feedback? Do I have permission to share? You may not say it that way. Say it in a way that you would say it, but you're just basically asking for permission. Mm-hmm. Right, Dwayne? I know, not during the game. Okay. For real, that's amazing that I didn't know the game was on.
That really is amazing. You were totally out of sync with what I was doing.
I just got on the couch and was like, "What's wrong with him? Why you don't want to know if there's some things you can do different in your life?" I saw somebody say, like, "What is that book? Where can I get a copy?" So let me just tell y'all, for those out there who say, that might be me. It's The Mindfulness Prescription for Adult ADHD. It's by Lydia. I don't know how to say it. Zylowska Zilowaska, whatever. I don't know. That's the name. I don't even know if that's coming on y'all's screen backwards or whatever, but this is a good book, because I've been caught up in some of this stuff because I need some help. You understand? Mm-hmm. We do.
You do. So point number 5, y'all.
All right.
Point number 5.
Ain't this like point number 10?
No, it's point number 5, man.
All right, keep it moving.
Point number 5. So my wife, she oftentimes lifts this one up, y'all. That criticism is a poor way to make a request. A lot of times when we're engaged in conversation with our partner, we sometimes come at them sideways. We're criticizing them. We're blaming them. We're making them feel bad. And the reality is that we have certain requests of our partner, and to go about it in such a way where you're criticizing, it's the wrong way to go about it. So you want to make sure that you switch that thing up and make sure that you're very clear, concise, and you're asking questions.
Everything's concise though.
It ain't gotta be 1,000 words.
Well, sometimes it might need to be 999.
If you're making a request, it ain't gotta be 1,000 words. So again, you want to make sure that you're concise in your requests, and you're not necessarily coming off like you're criticizing your partner. When you do that, he becomes defensive. They shut down, and they're not necessarily willing to engage in the conversation. And so again, like last night was a perfect example. My wife, she criticized me for not wanting to take this assessment. And I actually took the assessment too. Now I'm mad about taking the assessment. I took the assessment. So you got mad at me for taking the assessment and the fact that I wouldn't converse and engage you around the assessment when I'm trying to watch why did I take the assessment during the game?
I'm sorry.
Now I'm feeling some sort of way about taking the assessment.
I'm sorry. I got issues. I'm sorry. Yeah, don't we all? Yes. So guys, are we done?
We got 2 more points, bro.
Well, what are the points? I'm sorry. What are the points? Go ahead.
You go ahead. The points.
I don't even know what it is. We did all the points. Then we do all the points, y'all.
No, we only did 5.
So look, this is another one. Mind reading is futile. It is not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to understand your partner because you try to kind of like figure it out, guess it out. It's not going to work. Do not do any mind reading. And so what that means is that if you have a question about something, you don't understand why your partner has a certain level of energy, you don't understand what they're saying or why they're coming at you a certain way, why they're shutting down, why they're not talking. I mean, how many times have I sat in a session with folks and I said, well, so what, did you ask them? Because I'm trying to figure out, did you ask them? No. Why not? And then the person's like, like, I don't want to do that. And I think a lot of that hesitation is about fear of being rejected, fear of going deeper. Like if I do that, then that actually, the moment you ask a question and you do not attempt to mind read and you say, why did that offend you? Why is what I said or what I did, why is that? What happened right there? Because I'm confused. Or this is what's going on for me. The moment you do that, you automatically shift the relationship to another level. And people oftentimes don't know that they can handle that. We're scared of that. We're scared a lot of times of intimacy. We're scared to be close and to really have that level of connection with somebody. That's really what it is. And so what I would say to you is that if you really want to be connected, if you really want to have this level of closeness in your relationship, and particularly in your communication, then what you got to do is no mind reading. Just ask. Just ask. Yes, Shakira, we got to be vulnerable. That's what we got to do. So mind reading never works. Just ask.
Another thing that doesn't work, y'all, is name calling. So point number 7 is name calling. Unless you got another point that you
go ahead. I'm still gonna say another one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the reason why I said it is because some of you all have gotten extremely comfortable in your relationship, and you feel like it's okay to berate your partner.
And not just calling him, it's also calling out things like we just need to get a divorce. We just need to be done.
Yeah.
Certain kind of actions in addition to name calling. And you just go there like it's a reflex. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, maybe we don't need to be together.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing it.
Yeah, stop doing it. The whole bitch ass nigga. Stop doing that. Calling your wife a bitch. Stop doing that. Going on your man and making him feel less than and comparing him to other men and all of that type of stuff, comparing him to his father or your father. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Berating your partner is not going to get you what it is that you're looking for in your relationship. It only puts up a brick wall between the two of you, and it pushes him further and further away, and it pushes her away as well. So again, resentment starts to build up, and neither one of you all are willing to cross over that wall, because on the other side of that wall is only pain. It's only hurt. So stop doing that, y'all. Stop berating your partner, making your partner feel bad. Again, you all are supposed to be building something together. And it's not just about you. It's about your family too, y'all. You're supposed to be creating a legacy. And you can't do that if y'all are hating each other and hurting each other with your words.
Again, I mentioned this earlier, there are rules There are rules of engagement. There are rules of engagement anywhere you go in society. You cannot go into a courtroom and say whatever the hell you want to say.
Mm.
You can't come with whatever kind of energy you want, rolling your eyes.
You can say it, but there's consequences.
It's going to be consequences for that behavior, is it not?
Yeah.
And so we have to respect our relationships in the same way. I also want people to understand that yes, your children is watching, Kiana. They are watching. That's right. That's right. I want you to understand that negotiation has to be something that you get very, very comfortable with. It's not about getting your way. I have to be honest and say that early on in my marriage, I was trying to get my way. I wouldn't have said it. I wouldn't have said like, I'm trying to get my way. But if I really look back, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to just win. I just wanted to be my way. Compromise, coming to a middle ground, negotiating. Okay, if we can do this, can I do? That wasn't a part of my my toolbox. That wasn't a goal. I'm like, I want it all the way over here. And depending on what you're talking about, sometimes it is black and white like that. Like, are we gonna go this way or that way, right? But there are lots and lots of times where there's an opportunity for you to have some compromise. There's an opportunity for you all to be able to kind of negotiate. So I want negotiation to be something that you start to bring like, okay, what is it that I actually must have or feel like I got to be able to walk away with? And what can I let go? What can I let go of? Because oftentimes we don't even ask ourselves the question because we're just so upset and mad and in our feelings or hurt or what have you. And so we just kind of stay stuck in that place and we don't even ask the question, what can I give up? If you start to do that, you model for your partner that they can give up some things too. And you start to get to a place where communication is happening, you know, and consideration is happening. Okay. So I want you to understand that always, 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 you have to be looking for negotiation and compromise because relationship is not about you. It's about the both of you. And it's about what you're building. Guys, this has been good tonight. I have enjoyed it. I love the comments that we've gotten. I love how much you all have just shared from a really honest place. Alicia, you've been sharing, Sister Alicia Frazier. I just want to shout you out. You know, you're talking about how your boo name calls and you tell him to move out. Girl, look, he gonna have to stop that. Go on ahead and share this video with him. When you get up off of here, send it to him. And I'm just gonna say right now, just cut that. There's some things that have to be non-negotiable. You know what I'm saying? Don't do no name calling and you don't tell him to move out. And if y'all can't, you know, subscribe to that, then you might need to think about some other things. That's information for you. If your partner is not able to operate within some non-negotiable standards. I just talked about negotiating. But every individual has to have non-negotiable standards. You not gonna call me whatever you want to call me and then say that I'm yours. Where they do that at? No, we're not going there. You understand? You know, and I'm also not gonna be in a relationship where every 5 minutes you're telling me to get out. No, that's not safe. Right. So share this video with him so that you all can figure out what's off the table. Stop putting shit on the table that shouldn't be there to begin with. You cannot even engage in productive communication and confrontation if people are kind of like low key scared. Low key, like, you know, if I really say what I really feel, like she might roll out or he might totally like be done with me. Nobody's going to come out of their hiding space. Nobody's going to say what they really feel if they feel like you might roll out. I'd rather just keep the status quo and keep you happy and just go through the motions instead of keeping things 100. And that's not what we want.
Yeah, let me say this too, y'all. You know, earlier we mentioned that we all play a role and we all participate in the dance. And so it's extremely important for you to acknowledge and to take ownership of the role that you play. And, you know, just be honest with yourself in terms of how you participated in things being the way that they are right now. And so if you find yourself in a situation where your man is calling you out your name and you've participated in that by calling him out of his name, you ain't got to keep that dance going. You don't have to keep it going. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to be the bigger one, to be the bigger person and say to him, like, you know, I'm not doing this no more. You know, I'm not participating in this no more. And you could use some Monique language and say, you know,
what she said,
beloved, I'm not.
No, that's a Young Levin's.
That's a Young Levin's.
Beloved,
beloved, I'm not berating you anymore. I'm about building you, and so I'm gonna build you up. And so again, you laugh, but I mean that's real talk right there. The reality is that again, in order for you to shift in your relationship,
simple. I'm a simple person.
in order for you to shift in your relationship, you must, in order for your relationship to shift, you must shift first.
Yeah.
And so you got to make sure that you prioritize taking care of you and you making a shift inside of yourself in order for your relationship to shift. So
I love Haley. Is that how to say you say your name, Haley? Is it Haley? Haley? I'm not sure. Put the phonetics there next week so I can make sure that I say it correctly. She said my late night therapy channel. I love it. That's a compliment. And Cherish, she said I look forward to this every Thursday. Me and hubby listen to you guys together. That gives me joy. That gives me joy, and it gives me great, great satisfaction. I really, really want to say thank you for everybody listening tonight, for you dropping your comments, sharing your own wisdom, sharing some of your own experiences and some of your own challenges. Remember, everybody who's in relationship got some good things to share, and we got some not so good things to share. We all doing the best we can. We struggle a little bit, and we do all right a little bit, and that's real. That's what it means to be a real person with real issues and a real relationship. I'm a real person. Are you a real person?
mm-hmm.
I got some real issues.
You really do.
Do you have some real
really
issues? Negro, do you have some real issues? Mm-hmm. Why you open your mouth for that when you say, mm-hmm. Do you have some real issues?
I do, man.
And do we have a